It's Monique with Boundaries for Women, and I'm here to remind you that you are worthy of love and respect. And I just wanted to talk briefly today about something that I think can be a component of having boundary issues, and that is learning to trust your own voice and your own decisions and what you think, rather than being influenced, overly influenced by other people's opinions, thoughts, just outside opinions and influence. So it's possible that if you have a hard time trusting your own voice, or even recognizing what your own voice is, which goes back to the thing I talked about in another video on knowing what you need. Chances are that possibly you were raised in an environment where either an overprotective environment or an environment where you were second guessed a lot. And before I say anything further on this aspect in terms of oneself, just remember that whenever someone is second guessing you or questioning your decisions, your decision making, or has to influence your decisions, or has to has a need to, whatever you say, they have to question it, or just that causes a lot of self-doubt, that tends to be someone else's stuff that they're not dealing with, that they're putting on you. So they may have their own self-doubt, they may live with a lot of self-doubt, and so they don't deal with that, and instead it gets put on you. So let's say you're raised in an environment like that, where someone has really low self-esteem, they question themselves a lot, but instead of managing their own emotional state, they turn around and put that on you. So you're in the middle of making a decision, or you express an opinion, or you express something that you want, and maybe you rarely felt supported in your decisions, or you felt that whenever you tried to make a decision, someone had a better idea, or your idea just was never considered possibly the right idea. And so if you grew up in something like that, and possibly combined with overprotective influence, parent or guardian or something like that, it can cause a lot of this just self-doubt. And then self-doubt leads to having trouble making decisions and trusting your decisions and just trusting your own voice. So I just want to encourage you that if you're noticing that you need a lot of outside opinions, or like you need to talk to a lot of people or get a lot of input before you do things, or before you know what you think about something, or before you make a decision, it could connect back to this childhood type of thing where you didn't trust your own voice, so that you were possibly raised not trusting it. So when you get older and you're an adult, or you're in situations where someone is questioning you, or you're in situations, possibly toxic relationships, which can be an outcome of that kind of a upbringing, if someone is gaslighting you, or someone is questioning you, or this is where a lot of crazy making can take place, because if you're already vulnerable, in the sense of you're already somebody who tends to doubt yourself or doubt your own voice, then when someone is in your life that is also questioning you, or is, any of it, gaslighting, stalking you, someone that's jealous, that's always questioning you, to the point where like you end up, could possibly end up feeling like you're going crazy, because it's like you're like, but I know that I didn't do this, or I know I didn't say this, or I know I wasn't thinking this, and someone is kind of putting their stuff on you, in worst case scenario, in a narcissistic abuse situation. It can be hard to find your voice and all that, because that other voice can seem overpowering and much stronger than yours. And so one of the big aspects of having healthy boundaries is learning to tune into your own voice and what you know to be true. So when it comes to decisions, that's one topic of making decisions and trusting your voice. And it isn't that you don't ever want to have anybody's input, or that you're just like arrogant, like I don't need anybody else's thoughts on something, but it's just about learning to make decisions based on what you know is right for you, not what someone is telling you is right for you, or what's possibly right for them that they're trying to tell you is right for you. And then when it comes to things to do with somebody questioning you, or trying to make you doubt yourself, also coming back to a place of what do you need? Do you sense that something's off? Do you feel instinctually in your gut that something isn't right, that someone is manipulating you? The bottom line is that if you're dealing with a person that is healthy or that is not manipulative, you don't ever have to ask yourself those kinds of questions. And that's usually the first red flag, is if you're even having to think about that, or you're having to go, why does this relationship tend to make you feel off kilter, or make you feel confused, or just make you feel any of those those things that just don't happen in healthier relationships. Not that healthy relationships are always perfect. Of course, there can be conflict, there can be just different things that come up, but it's how those things are dealt with. It's whether you feel just put off kilter, off balance by dealing with certain people. So learning to trust your voice, learning to just always come back to tuning in. What do I feel right now? Is this what I feel, or is this what someone else feels or is trying to get me to feel? Is someone trying to manipulate me into feeling? And always checking in with yourself when you're in different situations that can cause that stuff to come up. And also just being aware and tuning into the kinds of people that you feel safe around, the kinds of people you don't feel safe around, right? This can go on in different areas. But in terms of just trusting your own voice, and in terms of just learning to, and it doesn't even have to always be related to anything toxic or abusive or anything like that. It's just in everyday decisions or everyday things that come up. Whenever there's a challenge, do you have to talk to a lot of different people in order to come up with what you know you need to do for yourself? And again, there's a time and a place for seeking counsel. There's a time and a place for talking to friends. But if that's you always have to do that, and you always need to do that in order to feel like you know what you should do with your life, that's something to examine and to get back to well, what do you actually think? And if you need to, tuning out from everybody for a while to get clear on what you actually think, what you want. And I'm not just talking about for your own life, I'm talking about just anything. It could be what's going on in the world. It could be societal things that you may have just went along with or decided are the truth or something like that based on what everybody else is saying. So getting really clear again on what you think, what you believe, what you just making sure that it's not something that was sort of churned into your brain, but that it's a conclusion that you were arrived at yourself rather than that you were told you have to think, kind of thing. Yeah, so that's a little bit on this topic, but just to let you know again that self-doubt and all this kind of stuff can often come from being raised in an environment that questioned you a lot, or was overprotective, or that try to get you to question your own decisions or not trust your decisions. And then just knowing that when you're dealing with dangerous situations, always just the more you learn to tune into your instincts before anything happens, the more you will be able to access those should something psychologically dangerous, physically dangerous, any of that, the more you will be able to tune into that and hopefully avoid any further danger. And then just trusting your decisions and knowing that, if you have arrived at a decision, maybe you've gotten some counsel, but not overly gotten counsel from everybody, Because sometimes if you're trying to get too many people's opinions in there, it's just like too many cooks in the kitchen kind of thing. And after a while, it's like you don't even know anything of what you want anymore, and you've lost sight because you've talked to so many people. So yeah, so I hope this helps. I hope it helps to know that, you know, you're not the only person that's ever dealt with this, that it's pretty common, and but that it doesn't have to be just the way it is, and you can be independent in your thinking, and you can, you know, tune into these things so that you're not lured into situations, or, you know, just kind of pulled in every direction, and that you have your own compass within yourself that is guiding you. So anyways, hope this helps, and hope that if there's anything that you know, have questions or anything like that, always feel free to send me a message, either in the comments or send me a message through the Facebook or email. And thanks for listening, and I'm so glad you're here, and always want to be able to support you. So have a great evening, morning, wherever you are, and lots of love. Bye.